Hi, it's Ron at Dirt Bike Magazine, and welcome to the 19's Dual Sport Edition, where we're going to show you all the dual sport bikes for 2019 that we consider worthy of a magazine called Dirt Bike. Now we're going to feature the KTM 500 EXC. The 500 EXC has come to be the holy grail of dual sport bikes, particularly for hardcore off-road riders. In KTM's line, this is the 500cc off-road bike. There's no dedicated off-road bike. There's only the 450 XC race bike, which is an off-road racer very, very closely related to the 450 SX full motocross bike. If you want to buy an off-road bike from KTM, it's a four-stroke, this is where the dealer's going to send you. Having said that, you're not going to be disappointed. It's very, very trail-oriented. That starts right in the chassis with the PDS rear suspension. Years and years ago, KTM did away with linkage suspension, believing it was better for off-road bikes for a lot of reasons. The biggest of those is that the linkage doesn't hang down and limit ground clearance. You talk to guys like Cody Webb, they love the bike for this. On the motocross line, linkage suspension has long become the norm, but off-road guys still love PDS suspension. It never ever went away there. In terms of the motor, this is the big bike in the four-stroke line. There is no 450 aside from a special edition that KTM offers once a year to commemorate the 6 days. The 500 is different from the 450 motocross bike by virtue of stroke alone. The bore is actually the same. That means it's a torquey machine. There's more low end than most people could ever use. As a result, the bike has a ton of low end power. You can ride the bike in a very tall gear without worrying about stalling. KTM actually did a great job with the mapping on this bike. When it comes to most EPA bikes, we've come to expect the cough and die syndrome. In fact, that was prevalent with this bike last year. I guess in the intervening time, KTM must have done a lot of work with the mapping, because now we haven't experienced any of that. Now, it's still a 500. It still gets a little throbby down low, and riding in a tall gear is the best way to approach a bike like that. It has a 6-speed transmission, so no matter what, you always have another gear taller. When you finally get on the road and you're in 6th gear, the bike can be shifted up tall enough to be comfortable. You don't want to be buzzing down a dirt road or even a paved road with the motor revving at 10,000 RPM. You get to run about 80 miles an hour all day, and the motor is loping along pretty comfortably. KTM did some interesting things with this bike. It comes with Continental Tkc 80 tires. These were chosen mostly because they're quiet, not because they hook up well in the dirt. I know you adventure guys are going like, I love those Conti TKCs. They're not so good when it comes to a smaller dirt bike. And this is a small dirt bike. Despite being a 500, this bike weighs in at 244 pounds without fuel. That's outrageously light by the standards of any four-stroke, much less a four-stroke enduro bike. KTM chose not to put rim locks in the wheels for a couple of good reasons, because rim locks throw a wheel way out of balance when you're running down the highway. They did, however, think to give you the rim locks with the bike when you buy them. They come in the kit that comes with the bike. It's up to you to put them in the bike and then to balance it yourself. We replaced the tires with Mitas full knobs, which are DOT legal and much more aggressive. We also put in the rim locks and we balanced them. It was a little bit of work, but it pays off. The Mitas tires are extremely good in all off-road terrain. They're not so great on the pavement, but again, that's not what we're all about. We just see the pavement as a means to connect trails, and this bike is really good on the trails. Up front, the KTM uses the WP Explorer 48 fork. This is a coil spring fork that came out about the same time as the AER 48s came on the motocross models. It's very soft the way it's set up as it comes. It hasn't been our favorite fork so far, but we will say for 2019, KTM did give it a little bit more spring rate, and the bike holds itself up in the travel a little bit better. We still would like to see it a little stiffer yet. One of the truly amazing things about this bike is it weighs 244 pounds without fuel. That's on our scale as we weighed it, no BS. It's light for anything. It's light compared to a 250 two-stroke. It's light for any dirt bike, much less a dual sport bike. The KTM's lightweight pays off on the trail. The bike is very, very easy to manhandle. You think 500 four-stroke, it's going to be a brute? Well, when it weighs 244 pounds, that's a brute that you can handle. We also love the attention to detail on this bike. It has a hydraulic clutch. It's KTM's DDS design, which is a damped diaphragm spring design. Very, very light pull, very good engagement, always there, always reliable. The brakes are Brembos. You probably know by now, those have been the strongest in the dirt bike world for a long time now. The bars, the rims, everything on this bike is high quality. KTM knows that they ask a little bit more for their motorcycle, so they want to give you a little bit more. And we appreciate that. We like this bike so much, we're going to throw it into our 450 dual sport shootout. I know it's a 500. It doesn't really belong in with 450s, or does it? There are pros and cons to the larger motor size, and the truth is, KTM doesn't offer a 450 in its regular line. So stay tuned, go to dirtbikemagazine.com for more dual sport information, and keep your eyes open in the print edition of Dirt Bike for a dual sport shootout coming around February.